Resistance: Fall of Man is set in an alternate history of 1951, where a mysterious alien species, known as the Chimera, had begun a genocidal war against humanity. As always, I'm your host Abz, and here is the lore behind the Chimera in Resistance: Fall of Man. From the moment the Chimera had arrived on Earth through a virus-infused meteor, the Chimera began to infect every living organism in Russia. One way which was used to infect were through beetle-like parasites that were known as crawlers, that would be deployed via biological weapons known as spire missiles. The crawlers would attack in huge swarms, overwhelming the enemy, penetrating the victim's body through airway passages, and then the crawlers merge into the host, where the victims fall into a coma as the virus begins the relentless conversion of the host into a chimeran creature. The Russian military forces were quickly overwhelmed by the crawler strain and converted into chimera. Russia was strict in isolationism, and therefore, initially the chimera's existence was completely unknown to the rest of the world. But soon after, Western intelligence agencies soon became aware of strange events transpiring in Russia, such as abandoned towns, abnormal cold weather changes, and so on. They initially believed the Chimera to be the byproduct of a Russian military experiment gone horribly wrong, but this was not the case. The Chimera amassed forces and began to swiftly invade Europe, beginning the Chimeran War. Europe had fallen. The UK thought they were safe for now, but the Chimera were able to dig under the English Channel and began their invasion of the UK. But it was soon discovered that the Chimera were from an unknown planet and had previously inhabited Earth millions of years prior to humanity's existence. Now this was evidenced by large structures known as Chimeran towers being buried across the planet. These towers were able to manipulate the climate of conquered territories to deem it more suitable for Chimeran life, as well as serving as production facilities for larger strains of Chimera, and also using the towers as conversion centers to manufacture more troops for the war effort. After crawler attacks, the infected victims are gathered by strange creatures called carriers that resemble a huge floating jellyfish, transporting the infected victims to the conversion centers ready to be transformed into Chimera. However, some of the victims are also consumed by the carriers as food. So why did the Chimera leave Earth in the first place? Well, it appears that 60 million years prior, the Chimeran ancestors, known as the pure Chimera, had colonized Earth. However, shortly after, they encountered a major problem. The pure Chimera came into conflict with another alien race. They were losing the fight, as this other alien race seemed to be a lot more advanced, and it forced the pure Chimera to completely abandon Earth, burying their devices underground, leaving no traces behind, and supposedly vanishing from history. The pure Chimera seemed to be in a very vulnerable and weakened state, or even implied to be at the brink of extinction due to conflicts with their unknown enemies, and so, as a last gasp, and as an act of desperation, sending the Chimeran virus to Earth and reclaiming the planet from the newly involved inhabitants, the humans. So, the Chimera encountered on Earth are not the pure form of the species, but rather parasitic organisms, created through their virus strains, fired from their bioweapons, creating fusions of humans and animals with Chimeran DNA. But most forms of Chimeran mutants have some similar signature appearances, such as having 2 to 6 golden eyes and greyish scaly skin. The metabolism of these mutants is up to 12 times that of a human, granting them extreme cellular regeneration abilities, enhanced speed and strength. However, the side effect of these traits is that it dramatically raises their body temperatures, which can fatally cook them from the inside out. But the Chimeran Hybrids, created from infected human hosts via conversion centers, are actually outfitted with artificial cooling devices that regulate their circulatory systems. The Chimeran Hybrids are the most notable force of the Chimera, being the foot soldiers and making up the bulk of their army, being taller, stronger and more agile than the average human, able to quickly learn and adapt to their enemy's tactics, and able to overwhelm the humans on the battlefield in their large numbers. The Chimeran Hybrids most commonly use the energy-based SMG that is called the Bullseye. Type 1 hybrids have no headgear and little armor protection. These are the most common hybrids encountered. Type 2 hybrids are slender versions of the hybrids that have a sensory device mounted on the front of their heads, with darker skin and larger cooling towers on the back. And there are Type 3 hybrids, which are even less common, seen with additional armor around their bodies, and are only seen in key locations for the Chimera. However, there are superior strains of the Chimeran hybrid, which are known as the advanced hybrids, being much more durable and stand at around 7 feet tall. Their physiology has been tuned to grant them extreme levels of performance over the standard hybrids. They serve as elite commandos, equipped with heavy armor and eye masks, as well as an improved version of the Bullseye SMG, known as the Bullseye Mark II. The Chimeran commanders, which are known as Steelheads due to their metallic headgear, superiorly engineered versions of the hybrids that bolster the lesser hybrid troops and lead them into battle. They will do anything for the advancement of the Chimeran invasion, even if they must die in the process. The Steelheads equip the Auger rifle, which is capable of shooting high energy bolts through solid objects. The Hardfang Chimeran breeds are similar to hybrids, but act more like shock troops and are more aggressive in their nature. Hardfangs use the arc charger weapon that fires an electric arc, which clings onto nearby organic tissue. The Hardfangs rush into battle and want to get up close and personal, attempting to take down as many targets as possible before they are killed. There are the Slipskull strain of Chimeran species, who are tasked as scouts and ambushers, small, fast enemies that can cling onto surfaces, using stealthy ambushes, and they can summon reinforcements. They equip Reaper carbine weapons that are designed for hit-and-run tactics, being lightweight weapons that have a collapsing frame that keep the Slipskulls hands free until the weapons are needed. Also the Menials, who are Chimera non-combatants. They are the worker caste of the Chimeran hierarchy and are tasked with labour and other non-combative duties, such as overseeing conversion centres. They are unarmed and are sluggish, but they are unpredictable creatures, so can be deemed as deadly as well. The Menials are known to ignore other Chimera as they mindlessly continue with their duties. Grey Jacks are decrepit Chimeran hybrids who have nearly outgrown their bodies. They are elderly Chimera as their rampant metabolism steadily cooks them from the inside out, and their cooling units are on their last legs. The Greyjacks have an odour of decaying flesh. They are unarmed and frail, but as you can see, they have very long limbs, and so they can use their wicked claws to dangerous use within closer proximity. As they are elder Chimeran hybrids, they are not conscripted into the military units. They are relegated to patrolling Chimeran bases, or even sometimes used as suicide units. A super heavy strain of the Chimera is the Titan, leading the way in major attacks as shock troops with their unmatched size and super strength. The Titan is said to represent the current limit of Chimeran ability to alter the human form, requiring multiple human bodies to create. Their size and strength allows them to wield extremely heavy weaponry that is usually found mounted on defences or vehicles. They have very thick hides and therefore don't require the use of any body armour, although some have been seen to wear armour. The Titans don't have any notable weaknesses, but the cooling apparatus embedded on its back is always a target that, with enough damage, can explode and kill the mighty specimen. The Chimera also has the Howler strain, a large quadrupedal creature that is similar in aspects to lions, or other similar animals you could say. Their calls can be heard for miles, and have a psychological effect on those familiar with the source. Howlers have a leathery hide that shrugs off most light arms fire, The Howlers are presumed to have been created from ordinary animals that had been infected by the Chimeran virus, hence the quadrupedal similarities with some animals. However, one of the largest strains of Chimera is the Widowmaker, giant arachnoid-like creatures that are the size of a battle tank. The Widowmakers are bred by the Chimera rather than constructed from human bodies, like the standard Chimeran foot soldiers and other larger variants. This implies that the Chimera have brought Widowmakers in from an unknown source. They are the toughest form of Chimera encountered in Fall of Man, being a force to be reckoned with, but also known to have a rallying effect on the other Chimeran strains. The highest ranking strain, however, seen in Resistance Fall of Man, are the Angels. They have a telepathic control over other Chimera, and therefore have a great deal of influence and control amongst the species. The Chimera were reliant on the hive mind through the Angel strain, who were mentally linked with the lower Chimeran strains. Killing an Angel would lead to the lower ranking Chimera strains being severed from the hive mind, causing them to die out. Remember the beetle-like parasites discussed towards the start of the video, the crawlers? Well, when a crawler fails to find a suitable host to infect with the Chimeran virus, it begins to transform into a leaper, attacking foes with claws and teeth. They are not seen as a deadly threat, but they are extremely dangerous when encountered in large numbers. But the final stage of a crawler's life cycle is the roller. As the leaper begins to age, they develop internal decomposition, which produces corrosive chemicals in the form of a spray that they use as an opening attack, blinding their prey before striking with their claws and their teeth. So that, my friends, is the lore behind the Chimera, their backstory, enemies and different variants in Resistance Fall of Man. Drop a like if you enjoyed this lore video, subscribe for more similar content like this, and please do let me know what you thought of this video based on this very underrated franchise. I'm your host Abz, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.